Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Ma'am SYBEL Explains. This video is all about solving problems involving compound interests. What is compound interest? It arises when interest is added to the principal, so that from that moment on, the interest that has been added also itself earns interest. This addition of interest to the principal is called compounding. Let us have this first example. A principal of 2,000 pesos is placed in a savings account at 3% per annum compounded annually. How much is in the account after 1 year and 2 years? Our principal is 2,000 pesos. Our rate is 3% per annum, which is compounded per year. And our time is we have to know the future value of the money after 1 year and after 2 years. We cannot get the future value without the interest. So we have to get the interest first of the money. Okay, let's write our formula. And that is interest over principal is equal to rate over 100. If you notice, we use the same formula with the percentage. And if you're watching my previous videos about percentage based on rate, I was using the same formula all throughout. So if you want to check it out, I'll be putting down below the link of those videos. Okay, let's go back to our lesson. And again, I was saying that our formula is interest over principal is equal to rate over 100. And if you notice, we just substitute. That's I over 2,000 is equal to 3 over 100. And we get 2,000 times 3 divided by 100, and that's 6,000 divided by 100, we get 60. So how to get the future value? Since 60 is our interest, just add it to the principal, and that is 60 plus 2,000, and we get the future value after 1 year, and that is 2,060 pesos. We can write the interest here, that's 60 pesos, and 2,060 pesos as our future value. This 2,060 pesos is our principal right now. And since our lesson is all about compound interest, we are not going to use the original principal, which was 2,000, but instead we'll be using the 2,060, which is the future value of what we had a while ago after 1 year. So that's the difference between the compound interest and the simple interests. So for the compound interest, we'll be using now the 2,060 as our principal. And still the same, we'll be using 3% as our rate. So let's just substitute. That's going to be I over 2,060 is equal to 3 over 100. I is equal to, or interest is equal to 2,060 times 3 divided by 100. That's 6,180 divided by 100. And we will get, for the interest for the second year, that's 61 pesos and 80 centavos. How to get the future value? Still the same. That's going to be interest plus principal. Our interest this time for the second year is 61 pesos and 80 centavos added to 2,060, which is our future value. And we get 2,121 pesos and 80 centavos. So our future value after 2 years is equal to 2,121 pesos and 80 centavos, while our interest was 61 pesos and 80 centavos. We have the second example. Let's have this one. A bank account has an initial principal amount of 1,000 pesos with 20% interest per year. How much money will be in that account after 3 years if it is compounded yearly? Our principal is 1,000 pesos. The rate of interest is 20%, while our time is 3 years. We need to remember that this is compounded yearly. So in the first year, we are still going to use the same formula. That's interest over principal is equal to rate over 100.
This time we will just substitute. That's I over 1000 is equal to 20 over 100. That's I is equal to 1000 times 20 divided by 100. That's going to be 200 divided by 1. The answer is 200 pesos for our interest for the first year. For the future value, that's going to be interest plus principal. That's 200 plus 1000 pesos. So our future value after 1 year is 1200 pesos. Let us just write our future value here. That's 1200 and our interest is 200. We will be needing that later. For the second year of compound interest, we'll be needing the future value that we had a while ago in the first year, and that is 1200. That's going to be I over 1200 is equal to 20 over 100. That's I is equal to 1200 times 20 divided by 100. That's 24,000 divided by 100, and we get 240 pesos for the second year of the compound interest. For the future value, that's interest plus principal. That's 240 pesos plus 1200, and that will give us a future value of 1440 pesos for the second year. And if you continue to take note of it, we have the interest of 240 pesos, which is a little bit bigger compared to what we have in the first year. So by this time, I think you already know the difference between the simple interest and the compound interest. Now, let's move on to the third year of compound interest for us to really understand more of it. Okay, let's have for the third year, if you notice that our future value is different from the other year to the next year. And this is the major difference of the simple interest and the compound interest. Now let's have the third year. We are still going to use the same formula, and we will just substitute. That's I over 1440 pesos is equal to 20 over 100. If you notice, our principal is changing from year to the other year to the next year. Now that's I is equal to 1440 times 20 divided by 100. And that is 28,800 pesos divided by 100, and we'll have 288 pesos as our interest for the third year. So if you notice, the interest for the second year is also different from the third year. Same as through with the interest of the first year compared to the second year. For the future value, that's going to be interest plus principal. Our interest is 288 pesos plus 1440 pesos, and will give us a future value for the third year as 1728 pesos. Let's go back to the problem. The problem is asking how much money will be in that account after 3 years if it is compounded yearly. So our final answer for this is 1,728 pesos after 3 years with compound interests of 20% yearly. Now let's have another example. Errol invests 4,000 pesos into an account paying 5% interest compounded semi-annually. How much money will be in Errol's account after 2 years? Please take note of the following. It is compounded semi-annually. What do we mean by semi-annually? That is, for every 6 months, we will be having 5% interests. Let's have the given. For the principal, that's going to be 4,000 pesos. For the rate, that's 5% semi-annually, and for the time we have 2 years, and we're looking for the future value and interest. And since we are going to have semi-annually, that would mean there will be 2 6 months in 1 year, and there are 4 6 months in 2 years. So that would mean we'll be solving this solution or this problem for 4 times. Let's substitute. That's going to be I over 4,000 is equal to 5 over 100. That's 4 4,000 times 5 divided by 100 will get 200 pesos for the first 6 months of the first year, added to the principal to get the value of future value of Errol's account, and that's going to be for the first 6 months we'll have 4,200 pesos. For the second month, and we will substitute that's I over 4,200, that's new principal, is equal to 5 over 100. 4,200 times 5 divided by 100, we get 210 pesos for the second 6 months of the first year, and that's 210 plus 4,200, that will give us 4,410, and that will be the new principal we'll be using for the second year of the first 6 months. Let's substitute. That's I over 4,410 is equal to 5 over 100. 4,410 times 5 is equal to 22,050 divided by 100. That will give us 220 pesos and 50 centavos as our interest. Now let's solve for the future value. Let's add interest to the principal. That's 220 pesos and 50 centavos added to 4,410. That will give us 4,630 pesos and 50 centavos for the first 6 months of the second year. Then we'll have the last one. Let's have now the second 6 months of the second year. Let's just substitute. That is I over 4,630 pesos and 50 centavos is equal to 5 over 100. 23,152 pesos and 50 centavos divided by 100, and our interest will be 231 pesos and 525 centavos. If you notice, we have 3-digit number. We'll be rounding it off later. And now let's add it to our principal, which is 4,630 pesos and 50 centavos. That will give us 4,862 pesos and 3 centavos as our final answer, and will be the amount of money in Errol's account after 2 years with 5% interest compounded semi-annually.
Now it is your turn to solve. Please write your answer in the comment section. The first question is, find the compound interest in 8,000 pesos for 2 years at 6% annually. Next, how much is the account after 2 years? Thank you for answering. See you.
Don't forget to hit the like button if you think this is helpful. Till next time!